What's up guys, Jordan here. Got another incredible interview lined up for you today. We're joined by Jared Tangir, owner of Elevated Audience. He's a member of the Affluent Academy and makes over $35,000 on a monthly basis. Now he owns a white label agency, which means he hasn't had to do any outreach whatsoever to hit that $35,000 a month point. Pretty incredible, right? We're gonna unravel his strategy, so without further ado, let's get straight into this interview.
Make your clients love you, whether they're a white label client or an end user client. Make your clients love you, and they'll never leave you.
What point are you at now financially in the business?
About $40,000 a month. So probably do about $500,000 next year. Backlinks move the needle in SEO more than anything else, right? If you're not building backlinks in SEO, it's like not turning on a remarketing campaign in a Facebook ad. It's just silly not to do it. It's the hardest part. It's the most expensive part, but you got to do it.
What's up guys, Jordan here. Today we're joined by Jared from Elevated Audience. He's a member of the Affluent Academy, SEO and PPC agency, smashing it, I might add. It's great to have you here, man. Thank you so much for coming.
Good to see you, Jordan, man. It's kind of surreal. I've been watching your content forever. So it's like you're like a celebrity.
Love that. So it's always nice to give people a bit of a backstory, right? And let them know kind of what brought you to the point of starting the agency. You started 2 years ago. So I'd love to know a little bit, dig into the past, what you did beforehand that led you to wanting to start your own agency.
Sure. So I spent the better part of a decade as the director of a large event production company. So I was managing, fashion shows, weddings, bar mitzvahs, with budgets of $200,000 to $400,000 per event, right? And we were doing the draping, the lighting, the sound, the entertainment, all of it. COVID happened, we hit a brick wall, and I needed something to occupy my time. So I started building, I had been building websites for friends. I'd been helping, with anything digital for a while. So I said, I'm gonna slap a brand on it. And I started, I went out to my warm market on my Facebook community and just said, hey, if anybody needs help, this is my business, Elevated Audience. And I got a couple leads and things started going really well. I quickly saw that there was a major market for people needing help advertising on social media. And that's how I found you and your content. I consumed pretty much every single thing you had on YouTube. Because my commute to work at the time was an hour each way. So on the drives back and forth was YouTube University, and signed up for the program, blew through all the content, and even beyond the value that it provided for running a successful social campaigns was the business side of things, the mentality side of the mindset side of things, the healthy habit side of things. So that's kind of how I ended up, in the digital marketing business.
Love that. Awesome. So did you say that you had a business beforehand, or was that a job that you were working in before?
It was a job. Yeah, I was the director, but I was not the owner of the company.
Interesting. So what would you say were some of the biggest lessons that you took from that job that kind of carried, because it sounds like you were doing a lot of people, like you conversing with a lot of people. So what were some of the skills that you carried across from that business, from that job that kind of aided you in the initial stages?
Sure. So managing teams and staying organized is definitely something that I brought over with me, because everybody comes from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different stories. They have different strengths, different weaknesses. And I always felt like the job of a good leader, or the role of a good leader, is to put your people in a place to succeed, right? So you can't make a rabbit roar, right? You have to, so you really want to mold your team and build a team, whether you're outsourcing or hiring internally or working with freelancers, and let people be really the best at what they're good at. And not try to stretch people too thin. So that was one thing I brought over. The other was really meeting deadlines. When it comes to the event industry, that event's taking place whether you're ready or not. So there was no, this can wait till Monday. It was, this has to get done by this certain day. And continuing through with that diligence and managing clients' expectations is another thing that I feel has made my agencies, as successful as it is so soon.
That's very interesting. You mentioned, I know that you've grown your agency in quite an unorthodox way, actually, in the way that you scaled out through white labeling, and I want to jump into that. But it's interesting that you, having managed teams and having dealt with so many people in the past in your previous role, you just mentioned that you like putting the power in other people, right? That's essentially what white labeling is. You're going to another agency that's delivering an incredible service already, and you are just pitching them presumably on the service that you offer, and then they're giving you that service. And so you're kind of you're allowing people to do what they do good, but then taking your success through that, which is really interesting. So what made you decide to go down that route as opposed to the kind of outreach sales route at the start?
Sure. So part of it had to do with my own self-confidence, right? When it came to SEO, it was still a new thing. There's so much nuance in it. And I felt like if I could remove the client aspect from it and deliver great service, right, then that would put me on the path to success. So I went on Upwork and I was very specific about what I was looking for. I was looking for agencies, looking for SEO assistants, and I wasn't looking for an employee. I wanted project-based. And the funny story is my first one that's actually turned out to be the best relationship I have. We had a great call. I thought everything was fantastic. I was super excited. I thought, man, this is going to be awesome. I just landed my first white label client. And then 4 days later, I got a message through Upwork. Hey, I'm really sorry. We decided to go with somebody else. No explanation, no nod. I sent my follow-up. Hey, is there anything I could have done differently? Blah, blah, blah. No reply. That's fine. But what I do is when I have a good call like that, whether it's with a direct, client or an agency, I set up with a 90-day follow-up, right? So I wait 90 days and then I send out another message and I just ask, hey, really enjoyed our call 3 months ago. Is there an opportunity for us to reopen that dialogue? Are you happy with your current service provider or the one you went with? And it turns out that they emailed me back in 5 minutes and said, can you get on a call? It was just a price thing, right? The rate I was offering didn't fit into the service that they were currently contracted for, right? So they had a handful of SEO clients that were in a very small package, not full service, which is what I offered. So I pitched a price that was 3 times what they were charging, and it didn't work out. So we found a happy medium, and the rest is kind of history. Now I'm managing 11 SEO clients for them, and I'm now their web developer as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you establish the relationship with agencies in the first place? And are you white labeling on behalf of one agency, or are you doing this for multiple agencies? Yeah. What does that look like?
So I look at the white label businesses. I'm providing them a service that they can sell and make more money. Okay. So I've approached it a couple of different ways, and I have a handful of agencies across the US that white label my services at different capacities, right? Everybody's business model is a little bit different. So there's a social media management agency in Florida that white labels my services, or my team and I services. We do their web design and we do their SEO. There's a small single op in Alberta, Canada, that just uses me to do Google My Business optimizations, because that's what her clients are interested in. And I simply just build a network, right? It's all networking. The agency in Florida, I happen to know this woman from growing up. She grew up near me and moved with her family to Florida. I reached out to her one day. The one in Alberta, Canada is as part of a Facebook community for WordPress developers. So it's just about being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, being willing for people to say no, taking a bunch of calls that aren't going to be worth your time. And eventually you find the ones that are. I mean, I probably have had 25 white label phone calls in the last 6 months, and they've resulted in three accounts, right? They've resulted in a lot of other, oh yeah, that's great, but they never come to fruition, or the leads just never come. And that's okay too. It's a numbers game.
That's very, very interesting, and something that I think a lot of people just dismiss. I think a lot of people don't even get opportunity because they're not prepared to actually waste a little bit of time. And not even waste time, because you're not actually wasting time. That's the wrong way to look at it. It's just actually spend time and not just presume that every single conversation you're going to have is a productive conversation. Because like you said, if you're having 25 conversations and only 3 of those pull off, but if those 3 pull off and over the course of the year, their relationships each make you 10, 20, 30K, it's worth having those 25. The return on investment on the actual time you spend on the overall amount of calls is there. Like,
it's sales 101. It's a numbers game, and that's overall what you're right. And it's definitely not a waste of time by any means, because if nothing else, that person may know somebody else. I had a white label call. It's a perfect example. I had a white label call with somebody in August. We decided, yeah, this is great. I'll refer to some SEO clients to you. Or I'll white label your SEO. She just sent me a lead or referral to direct to consumer, because it just didn't fit her business model. They weren't in her niche, but they needed SEO. So you never know what you're going to get out of a phone call. And it's more so, I spend the phone calls not pitching my services and how I can make their business more successful. But it's just, I like to get to know them, to understand them, their history, their background, kind of like what we're doing today.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It's interesting. So what's your opinion on it? If you're starting a white label agency, let's say you're offering, I don't know, Facebook ads or graphic design or any kind of complimentary service to any other agency out there, really. Do you think it's important that you have some case studies yourself first? So when you speak to an agency, you're not a complete amateur, or did you have some direct clients first of all?
I had direct clients, first of all. I did not publish a case study yet. I think one thing I learned from my previous career too was sales, right? Sales 101. I was always direct to consumer, or business to consumer, I should say. And the B2B changes the dynamic of a conversation drastically because you become an investment as opposed to an expense. When you're B2C, you're primarily always looked at as an expense. But if you talk with confidence, you really just have to know a little bit more than the person you're talking to, right? And then you become a valuable resource. And it's kind of like the Warren Buffett approach, is like, say yes and figure it out later. You can get in a lot of trouble that way too. But it's, I had done my research. I had to get where I am with SEO. I believe in investing in self-education, right? So that's why I bought the Affluent Academy. I invested in the Gotch SEO Academy. And at this point, I had already completed and consumed most of the course. I had a handful of my own clients. So I understood the strategy, I understood the procedure, I understood the process, right? And I had the SOPs. So I could speak with confidence about the service.
Yes.
But if would it made of closing my first couple a lot easier if I had the case studies? Of course.
Yeah.
I think case studies are extremely undervalued at this point.
I completely agree. I think the fact that people value service charges over case studies is absolutely absurd when you're starting an agency. The most valuable thing is a case study. Way more than I'll take a solid case study over a 10 grand retainer when I'm first starting out.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. And ultimately, from an SEO perspective, I've gotten multiple leads just from the case studies I published. I read your case study. Love to learn more about your service.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think are some of the pros and cons to white labeling? Because we have a lot of strategic partnerships in our agency.
Yep.
We have a lot of other agencies where essentially we're doing the same thing, but the difference between us white labeling and not is we are then managing the relationship with the client as well on that specific service. Presumably, when you're white labeling with an agency, you're not having to actually speak to the client. It's almost like your agency is like an employed arm of the other agency, like hypothetically speaking. What do you think are the pros and cons apart from the obvious? Sure.
So the pro is you don't have to spend your time selling, right? What's the most expensive part of growing your business is acquiring new customers, right? You prospecting, follow-up, sales calls, proposals, negotiations. I mean, you don't have to deal with all that, right? The clients are just handed to you. Take this on. The other part of that is that you don't own the client, so they can be taken away from you. There's while the client has a 6-month contract with the agency that's employing you, they don't have a 6-month contract with you. So you don't deliver results, they can replace you tomorrow. You don't have a contract with them. So while you're not in control of how much you can grow with them, or you lose a lot of the control. However, the upside potential, if you partner with the right agency or the right business, is the upside is infinite, right? I plan for this one partnership to grow to multiple 6 figures a year revenue for my business. And I'm working on building a team just to service that one client. And then, continue to service the rest through other teams. Like almost like in SEO, we silo content. I'm siloing teams to accomplish the same strategy. The cons. So that was the pro. I mean, that is kind of a pro and a con.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing is too, you don't have to worry about, like, a brand like Affluent makes sense. You wouldn't want to white label because there's so much benefit to the brand recognition and the brand recall that you have. When you're just starting your business, you don't have that. You don't have the case studies. You don't have the portfolio. You don't have the references and referrals. So all you have to do is convince this agency owner that you know more about SEO than they do, or you know more about Facebook ads than they do, or you know more about PPC than they do, and you can help them. Then you can grow and ask, can I use this as a case study?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Do you get to utilize and use those case studies still, even though they're on the behalf of another agency?
So one of the white label clients, and the one that I've been mentioning that's the most profitable, or at least the biggest that has grown the most for me, is they're very transparent with their clients, and they'll say that I am their SEO and web development partner. Okay. So while I am white labeled, and I don't really deal with the clients, and everything goes on, their brand name is in the footer of every website, whether it's managed by, powered by, designed by it. Yeah, their brand is in the footer. So I don't get credit that way. I haven't asked. I'm sure they would let me if I asked to use one of their clients as a case study. Luckily, I haven't needed to, but I think it's all about transparency. You don't want to be sneaky. Don't ever burn that bridge. Always, ask for permission, because ultimately the work you do for them and the results you generate are their results.
Yeah.
You're being paid to do so. And you kind of have to make sure that you're diligent and respectful of that relationship.
Absolutely. What does a good or a bad, and on the flip side, a bad deal look like for you white labeling a service?
What do you mean by bad deal?
So, I mean, let's say someone's jumping into this right now and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know this white labeling thing was a thing. Like, what would be some of the fundamental mistakes that maybe you made when you first priced out with other agencies, and where have you kind of settled to now? What you try and average for with yours?
So don't. The main thing I can say is don't jeopardize your service offering, right? Don't chase the money. Okay. And I say that because when I first started taking on white label clients, some of them didn't believe in the value of backlinks, right? I'm gonna use SEO because that's what I know best, right? And backlinks move the needle in SEO more than anything else, right? If you're not building backlinks in SEO, it's like not turning on a remarketing campaign in a Facebook ad, right? It's just silly not to do it. It's the hardest part. It's the most expensive part, but you got to do it. Okay. So the first couple white label clients are like, no, we don't do it. Our budget is only, $600 per month for SEO. Right. We just want content and internal links per client. Right. We're going to give you 12 clients to start. Right. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's great for my business. Right. It could take a $7,200 a month retainer right now. That's life changing. Right. For a business that's just starting. But it was hard to get results. Right. Because the foundational SEO that I know that works is built on quality content, internal links, and then off-page SEO. Right. Send those ranking signals to the pages you're working on and watch them grow. Okay. So I could say it's not always about the money. It's really about the packages. And you can find now that account has since grown to say, okay, listen, you had these existing 12 retainers with these clients. We're going to service them. But anybody that we come on new, they have to pay at least $1,800 a month for SEO, which is going to include a backlink package. So it was a learning curve, just like everything else. It was a learning curve. There wasn't a book on there on how to build a white label agency. But as that, back to the cons of white labeling, is that $1,800 retainer from white label might be worth $2,500 if that was my client.
That makes sense. So the lesson there really is to not let, it's really to not let another agency dictate what is best for your service. Ultimately, They should respect that because you are the person that they're farming that out to. So are they typically taking, because with us, let's say for partnerships, let's say an e-com brand needs user generated content, UGC. Before we were going to build out that arm, realized it would just be really stressful. We're like, no, we're not going to do that. So we've got a UGC partner, right? When we white label out to them, or we just hand over the referral, we take on average 20%. Let's say. Yep. What does that look like? Are the clients, do they take a percentage, or are they just telling you this is the rate that we can give you? Or does it differ from agency to agency?
So at first it was a negotiation, right? It was like, hey, what can you afford? It was, you're just trying to get off the ground. Okay. So I probably would have taken $100 a month when I first started my agency, just because I wanted the experience. So anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching that wants to start it, don't chase the money, right? Just get the deal, get the experience, right? And then you'll learn. But don't jeopardize your service offering. Most of the time, I say, because of my experience now, and I have the systems in place to, for reporting and for, communication and things like that, I say, listen, here's my 3 SEO packages, right? Here are the wholesale rates, and here's what the retail rates. This is what I would sell direct to the customer for. I recommend you do the same. right? And it's just like like an MSRP on a car. So that's how I do it now, because I want to feel like the business owner, and it's just about, you're right, it is about 20%. I feel like that's fair. And you want to make it worthwhile for them too, because I look at it almost like I'm outsourcing my sales team, right? When you're white labeling, I've outsourced my sales and my account management. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a healthy balance to having direct to consumer, direct to client, and white label to really make it scalable.
It's really interesting. I think for a lot of people watching this right now who are maybe new start agency owners are like, oh, I really want to get into kind of this white label thing. I think it's very important to understand that you don't have to do one nor the other. You can get direct clients. And I would recommend anybody, especially if you're a new start agency owner that's never done sales before, I really would recommend you jumping into outreach and getting a couple of clients to get your feet off the ground first, because I think that those skills and that resilience that sales teaches you in those initial stages, it's really important and foundational to your long-term success. Yet, should somebody say, you know what, I want to build some agency partnerships as well, and they have the opportunity to do so, where would they start? Where would they even begin on building a network of other agency owners?
Upwork. Go to Upwork, build a freelancer profile, and start combing through the job postings and look for the certain flags that somebody looking, growing agency looking for, PPC help, right? Or, you'll see the way that they phrase things and talk about things. Upwork's a powerful, powerful tool. And if you use it the right way, I mean, you can generate, you don't even have to be an agency. You can make a nice living, 6 figures a year, just freelancing on Upwork. Yeah. Because, and I think there's a lot of value in that, because there's people that would be tremendous media buyers, right? That would run fantastic ad campaigns or run SEO, but they're introverted, or they are intimidated by people, or they're not relationship builders. That, because to run an agency, to build an agency, people come first. You have to be a people person.
Oh yeah.
It's make your clients love you, whether they're a white label client or an end user client. Make your clients love you, and they'll never leave you. You can have a bad month. Everybody has a bad month, but they love you. You're honest. You're transparent. It all comes down to people skills. So I think for the people out there that are a little bit introverted, that don't feel comfortable, communicating with people, you can still build a successful business through a platform like Upwork. The other thing is Facebook communities. You find the right ones, get in there, get active, contribute, talk to people, share free advice. Just like you did with your YouTube channel, right? You could get really far watching, your YouTube channel as a marketer, and do the same thing in Facebook communities. It's all about relationships. Business is about relationships. It's all about who you know. I mean, you could join. I know people that join their local community. In the States, we have BNI, Business Networking International, where they have those meetings once a week. I personally don't like them because I don't like feeling pressure to come with referrals. Mm-hmm. Make connections, offer your services, do something for free, right?
Absolutely. So just diving into the Upwork thing before we move on from there is, so my experience of Upwork, I think Upwork is a great platform. My experience has always been that, and I might be completely wrong here because I haven't given it a proper chance in a long time, that you get a lot of agencies that come on Upwork that want to farm out super, super, super cheap. So, and then my perspective from that would be, okay, well, if the good agencies that actually want to have a reasonable conversation and not just farm something out to the third world for ridiculous money because they can, the competition on those posts must be incredibly high. So how do you stand out from those other people that are competing over the same space? And also, are those opportunities few and far from agencies that don't just want to go for the bottom of the barrel?
You want to find the prospects that are not searching in the third world countries. So full transparency, I'm hiring right now for my first position in the States. Mm-hmm. I have 5 full-time employees in the Philippines. Yeah. Okay.
Philippines is a fantastic place to hire from.
Yes. I have a graphic designer, a developer, a backlink outreach specialist that I trained, and 2 copywriters, right? Mm-hmm. all in the Philippines. They're absolutely amazing. I'm now hiring a project manager in the States because I feel like that needs to be domestic. But the jobs on Upwork you can sort. It's all about how you sort, right? Using the filters to your benefit. Ironically, Upwork is a search engine. That's what I know. So use filter for people that are looking specifically in your country, right? Or in a first world country. Okay. Look for ones that have less than 5 proposals and have, so they're, you're not competing against a ton of them, and be unique. Okay. Be unique and record a Loom video introducing yourself. No one else is going to do that, right? Record a Loom video introducing yourself, that you're excited. They can see your personality. Pay very close attention to the job posting. I sneak something in every job posting, right? I have a posting up right now about looking for a project manager, VA project manager. And I said, use the word, what did I say in this one? Use the word bicycle in your proposal, or use the word saxophone in your proposal. And whenever I get all these proposals, the first thing I do is search for saxophone. Oh, you didn't put it? Decline. You can't follow that direction. You didn't read my job posting. Then I'm not going to reach back out to you.
That's gold. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like little things like that, but you'd be surprised how many people just copy and paste the cover letter.
Oh, yeah.
It has nothing to do with what you're posting about. So if you can see their name, write their name. Hey, Jared, really excited about this job opportunity. I love that you're this. I mean, I put the name of my business in my job posting because I want to see, is somebody going to Google search me, find me, and reference something that's on my website? And it all depends on what you're willing to pay for. But people in the States are looking for, I understand that it's going to cost me 5 to 10x more to hire somebody domestic than it is to outsource it to the Philippines. But that's important to me at this stage, and other agencies will value that too. The ones that are looking to deliver the cheapest product all the time, in my opinion, are the ones that have the highest churn rate of clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much. There's a lot of value there for people.
My pleasure.
So one thing that's worked really well for us, I know you mentioned BMI, which I haven't attended myself, but I haven't heard great things. One thing that's worked really well for us is this year was in-person events as far as partnerships are concerned, because we met some incredible, Joe, my business partner, went off to a couple of events this year. We sent Tom, our CMO, as well. We just had some, first of all, great clients that come from these events, and also really good partnerships with other agencies. Because what I've found from good quality events, and not just like the free ones, is that you need a lot of skin in the game, and you need to actually be a committed business owner yourself. And so you don't really get really small agencies there. You get agencies that have lots of clients and very respectful people. And then when you're face to face with someone, it's a lot easier, I find, to build a solid relationship, especially if you join that with an event that has a networking event in the evening when you go out for drinks and so on.
Yep.
You're in bed with that person, all of a sudden they're your friend and you're laughing and joking about the stories from the night before. So we found that to work really well. But obviously that's it's not the best scenario for somebody who's naturally introverted when you first start out. Must say, as a caveat, Joe was, and our whole team really are introverted extroverts. The extroversion is just a facade that we put out to the world because we have to, right? But we're naturally interested inside. But I've found that the networking events can be a really powerful thing. So for anybody who's watching this, I would recommend looking into various events in your niche. I must add, though, because what you find is in your niche, and by your niche I mean the actual industry that you're generally trying to work with, not your service, not SEO or Facebook ads, but those would be good as well. But generally, let's say you're working with e-commerce brands, e-commerce events would be good for you. If you work with cosmetics, and cosmetics conventions would be good for you, because what you find is, even though they're not built for agencies rush to them because they're trying to pitch anybody that's there for clients. And those are the really good relationships that you can build with other people that are also niche down in your subsector.
You're 100% right. And one of the pieces of advice that I got, I never actually pursued it, but my SEO mentor said it works phenomenally, is, believe it or not, go to other SEO agencies, go to other, Facebook ad agencies and say, hey, do you want to, because a lot of these businesses like yours, I'm sure, are getting a ton of leads and more than you can handle, right? Mm-hmm. And if you had a great white label partner, you could bring in more affluent clients without having to service that payroll, without having to service that, staff, as long as you could trust that they would deliver affluent caliber results.
Yes.
Right. So there's a million agencies out there that are in the same position. The leads are rolling in. When you're good, and the business comes. people know word travels. So approach these other businesses because they see it as, if I had somebody like that, then it would be it's a quick path to scale, right? I don't have to worry about the resources. And my biggest fear is always jeopardizing the quality of my service as I grow, right? I want to continue to deliver exceptional service and get great results, no matter how many clients I take on. And I'm not willing to take on more clients and jeopardize that. So if I had somebody I could trust, there's a lot of agencies out there like that.
Awesome. Talking of scale, would you say is your plan now? So you're at what point are you at now financially in the business?
About 40,000 a month. So probably do about $500,000 next year.
Love that.
Yeah.
So where do you want to take the agency financially, first of all, and what is your plan to get you to that point?
All right. So it's my goal for this year was to hit 250,000. Right. That was my goal for this year. And I'll do about probably 400.
Love it.
So I'm further ahead than where I was. So I'm thrilled, but it's going to be, I'm working on a couple different strategies to ask my existing clients for referrals. I don't have a referral request program, but I know that's where you get your best leads. Okay. You're delivering exceptional results for somebody. Every business owner knows another business owner, right? You just have to ask and they'll be happy to share it, but they're so busy in their own lives. So what I did was I actually partnered with, a company in Houston, Texas that does succulents. They sell succulent gifts. We found them on Etsy. Ironically, they actually signed with me for SEO. We're in our third month of our contract, but I sent out boxes. They're customized and they have my logo. It says Elevated Audience on a wooden plaque that's embossed. And it says, "Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your growth." And in there is a little pot with a succulent plant and some rocks and some soil, right? So it's a plant for them to put on their desk. And then there's a handwritten note, and I've outsourced writing that to my wife. And then there's 3 business cards in each one, and it asks for could you please share this with somebody you think would benefit from our services? And on the back of my business card is a QR code that says, try our free website performance report tool. So if they scan it, they can plug their website in. It's just a great way for me to collect user information and dump them into a nurture campaign. So that's one way, is to continue to ask for referrals. And I usually wait about 6 months into a relationship before I send that out. The other thing is also to find more white label partners, right? As a business owner, that logging into my HubSpot CRM every single day and watching all those tasks and all these leads travel through my pipeline, it takes up a lot of time and a lot of effort and multiple phone calls to close a deal and I'm grateful for them. And I love doing that because I like having those relationships. I'm a relationship person, but it's a longer process to scale. Whereas you sign a white label deal, it could be worth 6 figures in 6 months.
Oh, absolutely. Talking of that, how can people reach out to you? There's an agency watching this right now that's like, oh, sure, we don't do SEO. We don't, you might have some complimentary services that they can offer. Where would they find you to apply to be a white label agency or where would be the best place for them to find you?
Sure. Just head over to elevatedaudience.com, right? You can hit me on the contact form. Those still go directly to me. Haven't scaled to find somebody to manage that yet. I still take care of all the communication. So if you're interested in growing and scaling your business by offering SEO, I'd love to talk to anybody, and you can just message me through, or you can schedule a call right through the website.
Awesome. Make sure to do that, guys, if this tickles your fancy. I like to. This has been a great conversation, man. It's nice to talk about something different. And I haven't actually spoken to someone that's like kind of scaled out a white label agency like on the phone before. So this has been really great, and it's given me some ideas myself. I like to finish these on the kind of the same question, and I'd love to know, thinking back to 2 years ago when you first started the agency, having gone through what you've gone through now and getting to the point that you're at and scaling the business, what would your advice be to somebody who's just starting an agency right now?
Pick your core service offering and stick to it. Don't get stuck in the yes, I can help you with that. Yes, I can help you with that. Yes, I can help you with that, because that's where I was for 6 months and it was awful. I really became good at nothing and spent my entire time stressing about, oh my God, how am I going to do this? When I could have just focused on one thing that I was passionate about and become the master. Don't try to become the master of everything, because you'll end up becoming the master of nothing. And hire strategic partners or white label strategic partners to offer those services. So for example, if you ever start a white label for Affluent, maybe Elevated Audience would offer social media marketing, right, to our clients, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to worry about training a team. I don't want to have to worry about understanding those KPIs, understanding that reporting, but I could hire a proven expert to do it and make 20%. That's a brilliant idea for me. So think of it from that standpoint as well. Pick something, become a master at it. Okay. It's tough. I understand it's tough when you start your business because you just want to generate an income. Every time somebody, can you help me with running my LinkedIn account? Mm-hmm. Can you post on Pinterest for me? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. And everything just becomes a line item on a proposal. And then you're like, yeah, this is great. Look at all this monthly recurring revenue. But at the end of the day, you're like, man, I don't really want to be a social media manager. I don't want to have to engage with people I don't want to sit there for an hour on my phone every day, engaging with somebody else's profile, and then it becomes exhausting. And then you become drained and you don't want to do that. I'm excited. I love coming to work every single day. I love, firing up my analytics, my Google Analytics. I love firing up my keyword tracking tool. I like obsessively track Google Search Console to see, my charts going like this. And that, that's how we got to where we are. But that's not to say don't figure out what the complementary services are. I offer website design because it goes hand in hand with SEO, right? It gets me in the door with a business. I build that relationship. I can nurture them until they're ready to start with SEO. I offer PPC because not all businesses can afford to invest in SEO where you don't see results for 90 to 120 days. So we need to find that happy medium of let's run a PPC campaign. We'll get you leads in the next 3 weeks. Okay. And then we'll start reinvesting into SEO. And now it's a full marketing plan. So now some people believe that you should pigeonhole yourself and just offer one thing and be really, really good at it. And there's a lot of value in that too, because I cannot say that I only do SEO, right? I can't say that anymore. There's value to be said that I only do SEO. But
it's the key is only offering extremely complementary services that don't demand you to build large infrastructure around having to do else.
You're a lot more articulate than I am.
I wouldn't say that. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? It's like, and it's a trap that I see so many agencies fall down of like, can you do this? Oh yeah, sure. Say yes and learn later, right? And then like I had someone on a Q&A a couple of weeks ago and they said, I've got 2 clients, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. We're celebrating. And then they were like, I have no time to sell. And I was like, bro, what on earth are you offering this client for you not to have time to sell right now? And they were doing email marketing. They were doing website copywriting, a whole website rebuild, Facebook ads. And there was something else in there as well, right? There was 5 services and they were doing this for 2 clients. And I was like, this is your new style agency. First of all, they didn't know how to fulfill all these services. They kind of like scrambling through learning these things, which is just the biggest fundamental mistake. But then secondary to that, like their life is just going to be just an absolute mess. Like it's going to be so stressful.
Stressed out. Talk about stress.
Yeah. Like you're not just getting tracked on one KPI. You got all these different metrics that you're getting tracked on. The client's going to, if they're happy with the Facebook ads, they're not going to be happy with the email. And it's just something, it's just a route you don't want to go down. And I fell into this trap myself, even as an established agency. We were doing over 100K a month. We were just with Facebook ads, by the way. And then we were like, we might as well do TikTok as well. We might as well do Snapchat, might as well do YouTube. Our website is still like very much geared towards the whole multi-stack agency thing, right? Actually, within the last 4 months, well, I'd say more likely 6, we decided to completely bring our offering right back down to Facebook ads. So now we actually only offer Facebook ads and we white label out everything else, or we give referrals. We only actually refer to the agencies we truly trust, like the ones that we're like, not to say that we don't trust any of my white label agencies watching this saying I don't trust you. It's more that like that relationship is concrete and we know that the communication is just going to be handled in every
Can I ask something about that relationship?
Of course.
Your referral partners, is there an agreement in place where financially you get a benefit? Like, do you say, okay, I'm going to or is it just a referral?
Yeah, we take 20%. So it's contractually we take 20%, and there is a partnership agreement in place as well, which means there is a non-compete, so they can't pitch those clients on any services like that conflict with what we are offering.
So it works similar to white label, except it's not. Your brand isn't on the hook, right?
Well, we just won't. I just don't want to have to talk to them about us. I don't want to have to talk to our clients about a service that we don't fulfill ourselves. So it's our way of having that relationship taken away in those conversations.
Perfect. So your account managers don't have to worry about talking the talk when it comes to TikTok ads.
Exactly.
Right. Makes sense.
They could, but we just want to keep them. We want to keep the whole team. I think what we found was like we were delivering. We were working with some huge brands, like in excess of 5 million a month in some cases, and we found that offering kind of TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook, and all, we could have a really great ad account and with Facebook, but then if TikTok ads wasn't working, it brought down the morale of that media buyer, even though they were doing an exceptional job. And if we just did one thing, and then it would have been great. And it just causes all this unnecessary stress and too much mental compartmentalizing, and so we've actually brought that right back down. And I recently started very much preaching that to people in the Affluent Academy of, you can offer additional services, that's fine, but they have to be complementary in the sense that they have to just make sense. Website design is always going to make sense with SEO. PPC really is like paid SEO. Like it's like hacking your way to the top. It's the cheat code that kind of gets you, but the SEO is always going to be that fundamental. So they're very complementary services. I would argue whether Facebook ads and TikTok ads were super complementary because they're completely different marketing psychology, completely different creatives. And and
there's a completely different market that's on those platforms, right? Different demographics. I refuse to get on TikTok. I won't do it.
It's probably not your target audience, is it? So
my target audience is in there, and I just feel like it's just going to be another black hole of time, and I don't need that. I got enough to do.
No, absolutely. Yeah, even if you offer even if there's anyone here that offers TikTok ads as a service or anything on TikTok, don't have the app on your phone, for Christ's sake. Awesome. Jared, it's been so good speaking to you, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. If people want to follow your journey, they want to learn more about you and see kind of where you're at. I know you mentioned earlier how people can get in touch with SEO, but what are your socials? Where can people find you?
Awesome. So I am at Jared Tangir, Tangir on Instagram. You can find me at elevated.audience on Instagram as well. That's pretty much where I'm most active. Awesome. I'm going to get better at posting on Instagram about my journey. Right now, it's mostly just my adorable daughter, but you'll get to see both SEO tips. My wife is like the real queen, so she's forcing me to get comfortable doing reels. Because honestly, Jordan, as comfortable as this conversation is for me, when there's a camera in my face and I have to like create a reel, it's like the most awkward, uncomfortable thing. So anybody out there, you don't have to be comfortable with everything. You want to get some motivation, go look at my reels. Okay. You'll see how awkward and uncomfortable they are. And
honestly, man, this is like a double-edged sword. It doesn't get much better. It was hard for me at the start, and believe it or not, because my videos are polished, it is hard for me now. I can sometimes sit in front of a camera and get rolling, and it will take me an hour to record a 10-minute video, or maybe more than that. And I'm having mental breakdowns in between. I'm stuttering over my words. So sometimes I'll record and it's like, it's nice, straightforward, and but the majority of the time this is not an easy thing. So, yeah, I think a lot of people say that when they record reels and so on, and so maybe learn to find peace in the how.
It's amazing how many different channels are available to us to grow our businesses. That you don't have to be the best at everything. Pick one, right? And go for it. I mean, some people, they're awesome at YouTube and they love that monologue, right? I prefer a dialogue. I'm much more comfortable conversating with somebody than just speaking about a topic. But also get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? So I am planning to eventually start a YouTube channel. Reels is kind of like my doorway to get comfortable with that monologue. But I think YouTube is a great source of leads for anybody in any of our industries in digital marketing, because anybody who's interested will go to YouTube University first.
100%. You're absolutely correct. Jared, great to speak to you.
This was awesome.
Yeah, loved it. Guys, hope you enjoyed this. Go follow Jared. And if you need SEO, website design, hit him up.